Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday, March 14th. It is cold out here. I don't know exactly what temperature it is. My phone says it's 30, but I'm not buying that for a second. It's cold. Can't see my breath. See it? So it's cold out here. I'm outside right now with the dogs. It is 6 o'clock. Normally I would just be getting out of bed, but because Norm got up this morning, he had to go to a meeting early to do some training, and once he gets up and kind of leaves, the dogs assume, you know, it's time to get up and go outside. So, you know, they kind of whined and whined and whined until I finally said fine, got up, let him out, fed him, got dressed, and now I've got like half an hour before I have to leave. So I thought I'd bring them outside, let them play a little bit, because they do end up in the house while we're not here until one of the kids or I get home, or Norm gets home, and we let them out. So yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. And of course I have to come outside with them right now because Bella will jump the fence and try to wander the neighborhood. So Dixon doesn't do that. He has a bum paw and can't really do that. It's an injury he'll have forever. It's never going to heal. So he doesn't really jump the fence. I think he did it once and I had to bring him back, but after he got told no, like, I don't think he'll ever do it again. But Bella, yeah, if you don't watch her, she will. And it's pitch black out here, so, you know, watching a black lab out here in the pitch black is hard to do when all you can see is their eyes. So sitting out here is, like I said, it's pitch black. So I'm going to spin you around here with me. Behind me here, this is our pool. So as you can see, it's closed for the winter. And our deck with our patio furniture and whatnot. And that spot up there is where I want to put the hot tub. Wouldn't a hot tub be perfect up there? But yeah, all the way around, that's our basement. Like, that's how you get down into the basement from the outside. And then as I spin you around, as you can see, it is pitch black. So this is the house that I grew up in. And, that's the kitchen window. And in the winter time, I've always hated this backyard. The backyard is gray and dull and brown and depressing, and there's no leaves on the trees. You can't even see the trees, let alone see that there's no leaves on them. But yeah, there's no leaves on the trees, and you know, I don't ever like this yard when it's like this. I do love this yard in the summertime though, and being a teacher, I get to be home most of the summer, so you'll see this yard more in the summertime, because I'll lay out in the backyard and there'll be lounge chairs and plants and pretty flowers and umbrellas and cabanas and fireplaces and, you know, really cool stuff that we do in the summertime. You'll see more of that, but for right now, this backyard is just, yeah, like I said, never really liked this backyard in the winter time, but the dogs like it, and, you know, that's kind of where we are right now. So we're gonna go in the house because I think the dogs have had enough. So I'm gonna take my coffee. Sorry, they're so close. Come on, dogs. But I had to hold my coffee in the other hand when I opened the door. So now we are in my kitchen, which is, by the way, a big mess. I haven't cleaned my kitchen since Sunday, and it's Wednesday. And I've just not been feeling real good. So I've been getting home at night and, you know, making dinner, or making what I prepped for dinner, and then, and then just going to bed. I mean, we've been hitting bed by like 6:30. And I mean, not going to sleep, but just laying in bed at 6:30. So I don't know. I'm hoping that that's helping us rest. Bella. Let's see if I can get Dixon. And there's my wall that I just passed. I call that my kitsch wall. It is, I collect anything and everything that has to do with Halloween and witches and things like that. I'm a little eccentric in that way. I love all things coffee. So my coffee cups. Oh my gosh, look at the dishes in the sink. Craziness. This kitchen is so brown, and it's just it needs an update. So I grew up in this house. My parents lived here for 40 years. When they moved, they were not going to sell it to anybody in the family. They were going to sell it to a stranger. And like I said, I think I've told this story before, I came down and I touched every tree and I touched every panel in the kitchen, and I said goodbye. I said goodbye to the house, and I cried. Just thinking about it now, I cried, and I was sad, and I thought, you know, someone else is going to live here. And my biggest fear is that someone else was going to live here. You know, people kept saying, well, they're probably going to tear it down because the property is an acre. And they are building up around here a lot. When I was a kid, there was literally 5 houses, maybe 10 houses in this whole neighborhood. Now there's over 100. There's hundreds of houses in this neighborhood now. People have sold off their property and they've built houses and they've built townhouses and whatnot. And we're the lowest point in the neighborhood though, so it's hard drainage wise for them to build here. So for years when my parents wanted to sell to a developer, they didn't want to buy it. But now, when they were selling it last time, that was my biggest fear, is that that a developer wouldn't buy it, because I would rather the house be gone and new homes be here than someone come and live in this house and redo the house. I'd rather it be gone than gutted, if that makes any sense. And now that I'm in here, all I want to do is gut it. So I don't know. Like, I feel like we bought this house for several reasons. The biggest being that it was sentimental. The other one was that we will have the house paid off, well, now in 7 years, but originally it was 10 years. So our mortgage payment is kind of high, but it'll be paid off in 10 years. And that was a big plus for us to be able to say that we own it. We'd like to pay it off sooner so that we can use this kind of as home base, but travel more. But I mean, I'd love to gut this kitchen. I'd love to gut the bathroom. I mean, I don't think there's a room in this house I wouldn't want to just pretty much take down to the studs, except for maybe the living room. The living room is probably my favorite room in the house. I do like my bedroom, but I think I like my bedroom because that's where my bed is, not necessarily because I like the bedroom. In the summertime, this house is a lot easier to love because it's more open, and you have the pool in the backyard, and it's not as cramped. It's a very small house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath rancher. So it's small, and there's no upstairs, which I didn't realize I'd missed so much. We came from the last 3 houses, 2 houses that we had that had upstairs. It was like living area downstairs, and then upstairs was the sleeping area, were my favorite. We had a split foyer, which I absolutely did not love. I thought I wouldn't mind a split foyer, but I actually didn't like it at all. But yeah, this is a rancher, and you know, my parents always said it's a rancher, it's all on one floor, when you get old you won't mind, and blah blah blah. But the washer and dryer are downstairs, so you still got to go down the steps to get to that. For years my mom wanted to put a apartment size washer and dryer in the closet in the hallway, and but one of the biggest problems with this house is water. We don't live near water, but the yard floods when it rains, and the systems in this house are old, so the water systems are old, and I'm beginning to realize that you know, this house was bought more for sentimental reasons than anything else. There was a plan underway years ago with my dad to take the top of the house off and build a second story. And I've always wanted to do that. I don't think I'll ever have the money to do it, but I've always wanted to do that. I don't know that I'll live here forever. I don't know. I thought when we bought it that I would, but now I'm not so sure. But anyway, that's my house story. I'm gonna jump off here and drink some coffee, and then in about 15 minutes leave for work. So I'll see you this afternoon. Hi guys, so here we are in the car. I know it's still a little dark. It is 7 o'clock and it's still dark and I'm not loving it. I actually hate this part of the daylight savings, but when it finally catches up, I'm much happier when I'm driving to work in the sunlight and coming home from work in the sunlight, but it'll be fine. So, you know, we talk all the time about negative self-talk, and I negative self-talk about my diet. I negative self-talk about everything. And today, as I'm watching YouTube videos and listening to YouTube videos on my way to work, I watched some at home and then I was listening on my way to work, I find myself negative talking just about, you know, about everything, about myself. So this time of year in my job, in my profession, is the time of year that job postings start getting put on our board on the internet. And you know, it's no secret, I've been wanting a promotion and up for a promotion for over a year now. And this morning I was thinking, oh, it's interview season and I'm gonna feel so, you know, this started with positive talk, right? It's interview season and I'm gonna feel so much better and so much more secure in my suits, and maybe I'm gonna have to buy a new one, and you know, just being all excited about what I was gonna wear to the interviews, and I'm ready for the interview and I know what I'm gonna say, and you know, I've done these interviews before and I'm ready and blah blah blah. And then somehow in my head, by the end of my thought process, instead of saying, oh, it's interview season, I was saying, oh, it's rejection season. And I'm going to have to go through rejection letters and thanks for applying, but we're not interested. And, you know, thanks for applying, come in for the interview. And my favorite, best interview ever, you did a great job. I have no doubt you'll be finding a job in, you know, in what you want to do in no time at all. We just went another direction. You know, those are my favorite. So I just started this self-talk of maybe you shouldn't even bother. Maybe just save yourself from the rejection. Don't even try. You know, say, you know what, I tried, it didn't work. And I'm telling you, it is just your psyche as a person. And I started, as I do with almost everything now, kind of relating it to my weight loss journey and saying, you know, you do the same crap with your weight loss. You know, you say things like, oh, I tried and it didn't work and I just want to give up and I just want to throw in the towel. And I haven't done that too much with Weight Watchers. It's happened a couple of times where I just wanted to quit and walk away, but not near as much as with other programs. And I guess I'm trying to figure out why Weight Watchers, I don't get that way too much like I used to with other programs. I think it's because it's not so restrictive, you know, and I think that it's easy. And interviews aren't easy, and rejection isn't easy. And, you know, so I started thinking again, relating it to Weight Watchers, when I'm up on the scale, I negative talk. Of course you're up on the scale. Look what you did, you know. Of course you're up on the scale. Weight Watchers doesn't work, or you know, whatever it is, whatever I can do in my head, and I wonder, why are we programmed to find the negative? Like, I say to myself all the time, like, I'm not going to be negative about this, or I'm going to find the positive in this situation, or today I'm going to be happy. And I really do make a conscious effort to try to not be negative. But why is our body, our mind, so programmed to find the negative? And I started thinking, and I think, you know, I think that we negative self-talk to almost keep ourselves from getting hurt. It's like sour grapes, you know? It's like saying, well, Weight Watchers isn't working, which it, you know, it is, that's not what I'm saying. But if Weight Watchers isn't working is my way of saying it's not my fault I'm not losing weight, or it's not my fault I didn't lose enough this week. You know, negative self-talk, oh, it's rejection season, so that when I get rejected, I can say, see, I knew it. I knew I would. Like yesterday, I had applied for a position. It's not really the position I want, but it's a step to that position. Although I'm technically beyond that, I would take that position in hopes to keep going. I kind of went in a different direction. But anyway, I applied, and I told my principal I applied, and my next words were, but I probably won't get it because it's so early in the season, they probably know who they want. And again, it was my way of saying, so don't get upset when you don't get it, because you already know you're not going to. You know, and it's like we put this wall up. You know, it's kind of like saying, oh, I went out with this guy or this girl, and it probably won't go anywhere though, or they're probably a killer, like a psycho killer or whatever, because we're just throwing this wall up of how we're going to fail, so that when we do fail, because everyone fails at something once in a while, when we do fail, we can say it didn't hurt because we knew it was coming. And you know, I think it's the same way with my weight loss. You know, when I say, you know, I'm going to get on the scale this week, but I know it's going to be up, and sometimes I do know it's going to be up, and sometimes, you know, I expect it to be up. But instead of saying, yeah, I know it's going to be up and I know how to fix it, and it's not a big deal because it's, you know, it's just data. I know it's going to be up because, you know, I'm a fat girl who likes to eat, and it's hard for me, and I just love food, and it's all the excuses. It's all the excuses. And for so long, I kept saying to myself, you're just making excuses so that you can continue to eat. But I really think the excuses are so that it doesn't hurt so bad. You know? It's kind of like when you don't get a job. Well, why didn't you get the job? Well, the principal didn't like me, or you know, I'm not the person I'm not the demographic they're hiring right now, or you know, whatever else you can come up to tell yourself. It's even though it's negative, what it's really trying to do is keep you from being hurt by self-deprecating before anyone else does. It's kind of like making, you know, when kids make fun of themselves because they're afraid of other kids making fun of them. I don't know, does that make sense? Like, so I'm stuck in this loop right now where I'm like, don't think that way, but then understanding why I'm thinking that way. Am I babbling? I feel like I'm babbling. All right, so that's all I wanted to say, I think. I'm wearing a coat today, can you believe that? I never wear a coat when I'm driving, but I was so cold this morning, which is another reason why I think I'm getting sick, because I am cold. But I honestly, I swear, I'm just going to start telling myself I'm not getting sick, because I've been saying I think I'm getting sick for like a week, and it hasn't happened. So I'm just like, I'm not getting sick, I'm fine, and then watch, it'll come. But either way, I will see you guys later when I show you my food.